Hello everyone, my name is Shane, and in this video, we're going to be checking out the 2023 Motorola RAZR. This phone is on sale at the time of this video. I'll have some links in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. The retail price is $1,000. It comes in 3 different colors. We have blue, red, and this black color that we're going to be checking out here today. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. We have some very noteworthy upgrades from the 2022 RAZR that I'm super excited to check out with you guys in this video. But so we're not all staring at a box, let's go ahead and check out the 2023 Motorola RAZR. Inside this pamphlet, we have some instruction manuals, we have a SIM ejection tool, and if you dig deep enough, you'll find a USB Type-C to Type-C charging cable. And for the first time, Motorola is not including a charger inside the box with this phone. But now let's go ahead and check out the 2023 Motorola RAZR. First impressions immediately out of the packaging, really liking the feel of this phone. I can definitely tell already that it is lighter weight from the 2022 version. The crease again is pretty much non-existent. I mean, if you have it at the right angle, you can barely see the divot there. But when you're looking at this straight on, when you're feeling this with your finger, you do not see any sort of crease at all. So very impressed. Let's check out the opening and closing. Wow, really liking the opening and closing experience on this phone here. All I need to do is just take my thumb and this just opens up very gently and very nicely, opposed to the Samsung Flip where it's very rigid the whole way through the opening and closing process. So if you want to open this with one hand easily, you kind of have to flip your wrist around to get it opened up the whole way. Whereas on this RAZR, you just have to put your thumb in and then just gently bring it up, and it does the last part for you by just kind of clicking into place. Then when you come back down, also very easy to close it as well. So very nice opening and closing. On the right side, we have what appears to be our fingerprint sensor and power button, and our 2 volume rockers. These appear to be the same size as far as the buttons go on the 2022 RAZR. On the bottom, we have a mic, a Type-C port capable of 30-watt charging. We have one of our 2 speakers here. On the left side, we just have our SIM tray. Nice to see we can still put SIM cards in phones here in 2023, Apple. On the top here, we have a very nice, just smooth hinge here. No branding or anything. Very flat and streamlined on this one. If we look here at the 2022 version, you can see it's very much out and exposed. You can see right through the phone there. But here on the 2023 version, it's very cleaned up, very tidy. On the back here, we have the RAZR branding, the Motorola logo. We have a nice matte finish here on the back, and we have aluminum sidings, and then this hinge is stainless steel. But overall, first impressions, very impressed from a physical perspective as far as the hinge, the opening and closing, the layout of the phone, and how nice it feels in the hand. Let's go ahead and boot up the 2023 Motorola RAZR. Taking our first look at the 3.6-inch outer display. This is one of the main upgrades coming here to this 2023 edition that makes me so excited about this phone. We now have what is essentially a full screen compared to the 2022 edition. You can see how it just looks nearly half the size. It doesn't take up nearly as much of the canvas as it could. And obviously it is just a night and day difference compared to the Galaxy Flip 4 with a 1.1-inch display. This is a 144 Hz refresh rate here on the outside, and the pixel resolution is also very good. It's a little over 1000 by 1000 pixels, so they definitely didn't skimp out. And then the upgrades don't stop there, because on the inner display we now have a 6.9-inch display compared to the 2022, which has a 6.7-inch display. I think I am going to miss this wider display. Samsung's Flip 4 also has a 6.7-inch display. We do have a bit more height here on the 2023 RAZR. Overall, we have a very impressive amount of screen real estate. I'm going to run this phone through its paces, I'm going to use it for a while, and I'll come back to you guys on my first impressions of the 2023 Motorola RAZR. All right, so it's actually the next day, but I've been using the Motorola RAZR for a little while here, and I'm definitely ready to share some of my first impressions with you guys. Getting into the phone, the Biometrics, you just lay your thumb right on there and you are right into the phone. Of course, you can jump into this outer display, which I definitely want to get into. And then also in this inner display, you just go ahead and tap it and you're instantly in. And as far as just opening it up and quickly getting into it, it's positioned a little higher, but it still is able to get enough of your thumb on there to get the unlock every single time. Great flip phone experience. But of course, the new thing here and the highlight feature is this new outer display. This 3.6-inch outer display is the real deal. 144 hertz refresh rate. But once you jump into your applications, you're able to come down to this menu here and hit the full screen. And then this gives you the full entire display that we have here on this Razr. This is just so interesting to have a full display out here. And this time the screen is actually fully functional. You can go through lots of different apps. We have a nice big keyboard here that we can go ahead and type on, and it feels very intuitive to type on this. I think this is going to be a feature used a lot. If you want to just boot up a YouTube video, you can go ahead and do that. You can even zoom in on it to take up your whole screen depending on what you're watching. Maybe it'll fit. In some applications like Google Maps, if you're in the preliminary setup of typing in your addresses and things like that, and you go to look at your map, you still have a lot of menu bar. So sometimes navigating through apps can be a little cumbersome. Once you're actually into what you're doing, what you're actually going to be using the phone for, then it feels very nice to have just this little outer display at a moment's notice. And if you just need to quickly reference something or quickly type back a text message. And to my surprise, I can actually comfortably play games on this outer display like old school RuneScape. So I can come in here and play buttery smooth. This is no joke for playing some games. And what's awesome about this too is that if you're doing something passively, if you just want to click on something and go do something else, you can go ahead and do that, and you can turn this phone off and the game will stay logged in. So I can go and do something, and then I can just come back, do the fingerprint sensor, quickly check in again, tap the next thing I need to tap. Of course, tinier things are going to be very hard to press on this, but this is just the cherry on top to show how capable and versatile this outer display can be for you, and just open up so many different use cases. And then when opening up into the phone, of course, whatever was going to be on that outer display will then be on your inner display. Jumping into the star of the show here, the 6.9-inch display, 165 hertz refresh rate. This is a very tall phone. It's been kind of an odd phone to be looking at and using for the past day, just compared to all the other phones I've previously used, just because it is very tall. It's the same aspect ratio as the Flip 4, but it just looks a little more odd to me because it's even taller than what this kind of narrow and tall phone already looks like. So if you're going to be doing social media, if you're going to be scrolling through feeds a lot, this is the phone that you definitely want to get. It does feel like you're missing out a bit on your content when doing things in landscape orientation. But at the same time, it is also nice to have even more space to be reading your comments and things below videos if you just want to watch it in the small viewfinder at the top. But overall, this is been a very impressive display, very impressive performance with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor. And while it's on my mind, the crease, you barely feel it on this phone compared to some of the other ones. You would feel that crease when you run your finger through the middle here. It barely makes any noise at all, which on last year's Razr, you had this weird clicking noise. But this is the first time that Motorola has definitely nailed it here. I've also had very good battery life so far. I've been using the phone all day today, pretty heavy usage, and I'm only sitting at about 50% battery. And I've also been pretty impressed with the cameras packed on this phone. So of course, when you have the phone closed, you're able to have an excellent viewfinder here. I mean, this is a game changer for selfies. If you like to take selfies, you just go ahead and point this and you can tap and you get your image. And it works very well for taking pictures and videos if you want to just lay your phone down on the table like this, and then you want to do some sort of selfie video or something. That's also very viable to do. And what I love even more about this camera is that when you open it up and want to take a picture or video of something else or someone else, you have the viewfinder still showing on the front. And this is just such a huge win for just smartphones in general, because none of your conventional smartphones, they don't have this option. It's always, oh, let me see the picture after it's taken. But here you're pretty much able to already see what it's going to be. Love the added features and functionalities that have come to the camera thanks to the screen real estate benefits here. And as far as just your everyday camera performance, I've been very impressed with the pictures. The video quality is not the best here. I think the Samsung Flip before, is definitely better in the video department. And I still just don't understand why these flip phones are not getting any zoom capabilities. We just have the regular standard lens here and an ultra wide lens. You can zoom as much as 8 times digital zoom, which just doesn't look that great. And for these types of phones that are just very nimble and able to take on the go, I just wish they had the zoom camera capability. The versatility of the camera is very impressive given just this type of phone that it's packed into, but I do wish there was just a little bit better cameras, especially in the video and focusing department. But something I'm also super excited for on this Razr is we now have wireless charging. I know it's a little thing, but with these flip phones, the wireless charging is just the best way to charge these back up, because if you have just a conventional charging pad, it's going to connect with it every single time. Might not be the fastest charging in the world, but it is just such a convenient feature to just grab and go with this style of phone, and just being able to quickly take it on and off the charger, quickly jump into whatever you need. Or hey, you could have something on this outer display and leave it on the wireless charger if that works for you. There's just so much versatility that is coming with this Motorola Razr. And overall, first impressions, I'm super impressed with this device. I am very happy with the 3.6-inch outer display. This is exactly what I asked for from Motorola from the 2022 version, and we actually got it. And it is a full-fledged display that you can use any applications you want to with it. So I'm super excited to find even more use cases for this outer display, and then just having a very versatile inner display with a great feel in the hand. This time, the Razr feels just very smooth and streamlined and well engineered from a physical perspective. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the Motorola Razr Plus down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to the Shane Simons YouTube channel today, and check out some of my other foldable content over here. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.